Hi, this is Mike from Software Confidence. Welcome to another episode of Software Success Disciplines. We're going to talk some more about acceptance test-driven development. We finished last time with this acceptance test that fires up our web app in Jetty and uses WebDriver to make an assertion against it. Now let's see if we can use it as a basis for something slightly more ambitious. Let's see what happens if we try to morph it into a test that specifies how stock quoting behavior might happen. So we'll copy the class and call it quoting acceptance test, and we'll put it in a new package. Stocky is the most inventive name I could come up with. This test needs to be repurposed. Should greet the world doesn't apply in this context. What should a quoting test specify? Probably something like should quote a given stock. How unbearably sober is my naming. I've no idea what to write in this test case in terms of specification, so I'm just going to make stuff up and see what happens, see what I can learn. It seems sensible that we would want to quote something, like the Apple stock, and it would seem sensible that we would assert that a quote for Apple is subsequently shown. But at what price? Well, I've absolutely no idea. I'm not sure yet how this test is going to pan out. I'm not sure what technical infrastructure is going to be discovered, so I'm just going to stick in any old price and see what the consequences are. Last time I checked, Apple was at $261.02, just passing Microsoft in market cap. Now I'll go ahead and implement this test. Here you can get a taste of how writing acceptance tests is very much about specification. Nothing exists yet to enable me to quote a stock symbol, so I'm free to dream it all up. On the project you're doing in your day job, figuring out what needs to be specified will result from a collaboration with customers and testers and other stakeholders. I'm going to specify that there should be a text element that I can type the symbol into, and submitting it will return me the quote. I'm just going to do a small refactor first with the element lookup code, so I have a nice method called element named. Now I can say that the element name symbol can have the symbol text typed into it, and its associated form can be submitted. The customer, that's me, says there should be a text line stating that Apple is priced at $261.02. So let's capture that idea. Let's assert that the expected quote text is equal to what we find in the quote element. Static import, and create this little helper method. And I think we've specified the required behavior. Time for some cleanup. This isn't needed. Neither is this view method. However, some of it is. We still need to boot WebDriver, so let's repurpose the method to do what we need. Start WebDriver before the test starts. Reformat code, and I think we might be ready to run. Oops, I left the parameter for the old view method behind. Right, yank it, and now I have to think, what URL do I point WebDriver at? Jetty is still being booted at localhost 8080, so I'll point it at that and try again. It can't find the element name symbol. Checking the JSP reminds me that this is the old Hello World stuff from the previous episode, so I guess it's now time to remove that and make our project be about quoting stocks. So get rid of the Hello World test code and the Hello World production code, and now index.jsp is mine to do with as I please. Declare the symbol input element in a form and see where that takes us. We don't have a submit element in the form. Good old WebDriver is being helpful with its messages. So I'll add a submit element, a button called quote, and try again. This is confusing. Why is it looking for an element called quote? Going back in the stack trace a little tells me that it's now trying to assert the result of the quote, which means I need some place to submit the form to. I'm just going to magic up a quote.jsp to do that for me and try again. Still no quote element. Add one and try again. This time the contents of the quote element is wrong, so I'll paste in the expected contents and see what happens. Surprise, surprise, we're green. Does this all work from the command line? It does. So I want to check this little edit in because continuous integration is all about integrating continuously. I describe what this check-in is as best I can, and then confirm that my change was integrated by looking for the green Piazza screen. Okay, time to move on. What does it mean that my acceptance test can be made to pass by a hard-coded JSP? It means there's something lacking in the test. Normally for a test to make sense as a requirement statement, it takes the form of given, when, then. Given this circumstance or system state, when I perform these actions, then these effects are visible. So there's a kind of before and after spirit to the form of a test. In this test, there's only the after section, so I'm off the hook, so to speak. Well, I'm going to put myself back onto the hook by tying down the before state. This forces me to think more about what quoting is about. What is it about the world that must be in place for quoting to mean something? After chatting about this with my customer and other devs, I decided that what's essential about quoting is that the market has a price for the given stock, and our app displays that price. Again, there's a strong element of giving myself permission to just try it and see with this kind of test. I'm not sure if we've nailed it following this discussion, but it's good enough to proceed with and see what comes out of it. So this is my given. The market has a price for Apple. That means that quoting for Apple should show Apple at what? I guess the market price, right? Which is what the given is. Talking this through with the stakeholders, we all agree that this is a better specification of what quoting is about. It expresses the logical relationship between the market price and our quoting behaviour by getting away from literal values. So I'll be forced to implement some sort of production code to satisfy this more abstract statement. But first I have to make the test compile.